Yo, this is Chris Gotti Lorenzo. We're back, giving him the business with my partner, Don Dinero.
Que hola.
Que hola.
You already know.
Yeah, we here
Talk
again.
dirty.
We got a rough one today.
Bueno.
Yeah, we got a rough one today. This is a very touchy one.
In life, at times we've all been there, right? Where we subscribe to could be a cable company, could be a phone company.
Yes.
And sometimes you can get you can personally call up and cancel your subscription, right? Or if you don't pay your bill.
I like where you going.
Hey, if you don't pay your bill, your shit gets cut off or canceled, right?
I hate to get canceled.
Now, we're living in a world today where there's different cultures and communities come about. That how you tell me have X
just
amount
say it, yo.
No, that has because it's just not. No, listen, it's just not communities. There's religious communities. There's powerful people
Absolutely.
out there that if you
Groups.
say the wrong thing,
yes,
they will cancel you.
Yes.
Now cancel.
What does
you,
that mean?
Well, now because
they gonna kill me
because of the world we live in. No, because of the world we live in. The social media world, everyone's connected to a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, a TikTok, a fucking
social media account.
Okay, whether you're Joe Schmo from Pepito's Barbershop,
yeah,
or you're Donald Squump, right, or whoever you are,
they cancel.
You can get canceled in the sense is they shut down your social media and you can't express yourself. You feel me?
Yeah. Which way do I go?
Right. So, what I'm saying is that, there's a strong community now that has to do with, I think, the separation. I can't. It's an alphabet. I can't say it all, but I will try my best, and
sure.
I think you'll help me. It's LGBT. What is it? LGBT. I'm sorry, I can't get it all.
LGBTQ community.
Yeah, I know.
That community.
Okay.
That group.
I'm talking my hands. So what I'm saying is that that group or that community has risen to a position where you're coming out and offending them if they feel offended.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about whatever it is that community is or isn't doing, you have the possibility of being canceled or not being able to express your opinion.
To make the money, back to the business.
To the business.
Ruining your business.
So there was a rapper that said something not too long ago that's been popping, and that I don't think he's still doing shows, but I think they kind of stopped him for a minute. Is it the baby?
No, they didn't stop him. He apologized.
Okay.
And he rectified
what was it
the
that
situation. He said? There's a few things. I know he mentioned about if you wasn't sucking dick in the park or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Put your hands up. And I think he also mentioned something about say it again? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the HIV and things of that nature, referring to, let's say, someone being
so it was
gay
hurtful stuff. So he didn't. I don't think in his word he didn't think he was hurting
hip-hop,
anyone.
I don't believe he understood.
Right, in hip hop he didn't
anything.
understand.
Again, when we use the word nigga to each other, we could be so derogatory to each other with that word. Again, we in the community, we feel in that hip hop culture, that community, a lot of artists might feel like they're not even thinking in the terms of they're offensive to another group or a person because the way they talk to each other. In that way, you know what I mean? So that is a big part and a big deal of all of this stuff. And again, he came out and apologized for his actions, so he didn't get canceled, let's say.
Okay.
But someone else that did, a bigger name, or, they, like, for instance, a Kevin Hart. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Kev, you know what I'm saying? That's my man right there.
He had a big opportunity that taken away from him.
Yeah, he was going to do the Oscars, and they brought up something he did in... like 7 years before the Oscars came up, 7 years ago, old, and they talked to him and wouldn't let him do the Oscars. And I'd
like to know who actually goes back and does that research.
And
That's deep, right? To
You know,
see.
Hollywood is made up of that community.
Okay.
That's for sure. Even the music industry, these record.
So you think they did it trying to vet out? Hey, is this someone that can be out in the Oscars but they can't be against this community because that community basically runs Hollywood?
Exactly. They wasn't gonna, let's say, empower him to make this money or get more popularity. You know, when you hit certain levels, in their eyes, they're looking at hosting the Oscars and how many people are watching, right, and that the powerful people in that industry are involved in. And they felt that when they seen what he said, which was, I believe, again, I may not be perfect in it. It may not be perfect with it, but he did say, if my son comes home and plays with my daughter's dollhouse, I'm going to fuck him up. Like, right. You know what I mean? Again, implying he doesn't want his son to become gay.
Which no one has control over, right? Kind of.
Which was, again, I will sit here and say, as a heterosexual man, that is one of our things we think of if our son became gay, that we do not want. One of the fears that
heterosexual men have.
We want to have grandkids, and that's how we look at it. You know, same for a daughter. You want her to have babies, and again, so we could have grandkids. From a heterosexual standpoint, not being against or negative in any way towards someone that's gay.
You see, because I think that no one kind of defends the heterosexual mindset because we're so focused on not offending anyone.
Yeah.
That, you know, heterosexual people like myself sometimes feel offended. You feel what I'm saying? Because why don't we have, I'm heterosexual. Do I have to? I understand your choice, right?
Now we're getting somewhere.
No, I understand your choice and I respect it, but do you respect my choice that I don't have to accept it?
Facts.
Right? In a sense that, whether my sons decide, I'm loving them regardless.
Right.
Right? I'm raising them regardless, and I understand that their choices are, I'm not knocking that, right?
Right.
I'm at all. I have friends, many friends that are gay. I have family members that are in the transgender aspect of life, right? So I'm not knocking anybody for their choices, but I don't think you have to force me to accept, like I don't have to be forced to accept Jesus Christ as my personal savior because I'm not, but the Christians feel if you don't, you're not getting to heaven. I respect that, but that doesn't mean, I'm saying, getting into religion, right?
Sure.
So that, I know it's a touchy subject, but I just want to say as a heterosexual OG dude, I have a lot of machista Cuban old school ways. As a babalao, if a woman's with me, she has to serve me my plate and feed me, right? That sounds very machista and old school, but that's kind of, that I don't force that on anyone. Those are traditional ways.
Right.
So I think what's happening is where the society's changing and the traditional ways are changing. Not only the LGBT, we can get into the subject of kind of women, how it's okay to women to have 20 bodies before you get married.
Oh, yeah.
When back in the day you wanted,
light.
But back in the day you wanted to have, back in the day you wanted have, I'm being nice. Back in the day you wanted to have, quote unquote, say a virgin and marry her, right?
Times have changed.
Times have changed. So
we have to evolve with time.
We have to evolve with time.
We're not slaves anymore.
Right. So I think that as a society, the reason people are getting canceled is because when they lash out at a specific community, it doesn't seem like they're trying to grow or evolve. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm assuming this is kind of what's happening. Well,
to give them, I don't want to say give them, it all comes from their growth. They have developed, they came out, and they formed this, I'm going to say coalition or somewhat. So, because, again, if we go into different things, if as many things that has been done against blacks on television, I mean, there was, all of the movies and things of that nature. We really never had the ability to cancel culture, and who is our movement? I would say it's the NAACP. That's one of the biggest organizations that would go out and fight for us, which I'm part of, shout out Scott Xdale, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, this is what they did. They would go and fight for those rights for us to try and cancel those things or to make them change, apologize, whatever it may be. But it's always retribution. See, that's one of our faults. we always look for, well, you did something, pay us. Right. And then they thought they could always pay you off to shut you up. See, the LGBTQ community, did I say it right?
You got close enough.
Yeah, I said
no,
it
we
right.
apologize.
You know what I'm saying? That community, again, they're not looking for a check to shut up. You know what I mean? When something happens with the Jewish community, they're not looking for a check to shut up.
Right.
You know, even with the Catholics, if something happens with the Catholic community, they're not looking for a check to shut up. That's the problem that I felt we have as people, as a culture. We always took that check and then moved on and shut up. But this is something.
So I think that's why they're having that community is having that power, because they're not selling out. They're saying,
they don't sell out.
Got to get off the air, or hey, you got to cancel that show.
They stick to it. Let's talk about. They tried to do it with Dave Chappelle, for instance,
Yes.
right? And Dave Chappelle, an incredible talent. Again, shout out Dave. He's a comedian.
Yes.
His job, again, what's crazy about it being a comedian is the truth, things that resonate close to the truth is usually the most funniest things.
Of course.
If I talk about something that you feel and it resonates with you, it's going to have a better reaction. It may make you mad, but he's a comedian. That's his job. He's pushing that envelope on the comedian side. He's done all of the other types of comedy and things of that nature. Yeah. And he went out and he said some things, again, about a friend of his that was, I think, transgender, a transgender. But he didn't say nothing negative. He just spoke about it, but it was perceived as negative. But that person came forward. Another person that he did things for that's from that community came forward and was like, no, he's not like that.
Right.
And it probably stopped him from pursuing him.
Right.
Which was great, because I would, again, I don't want to lose these guys. These are guys, again, that have great humor, again, entertain my life, and they're doing great things. And I just see that as a positive, not a negative. But the power of the community, to come forward and try and cancel. I mean, everyone's nervous now. They just did Ellen DeGeneres, you know what I'm saying? And she's part of the community.
Yeah, but I think
that's the crazy part. So they said she was acting a certain way on her job or whatever, but at the end of the day, this is the world we're in now.
The world we're in.
You can't get canceled, and it comes from the strength in numbers, but it's also the business side. They're generating tons of money from donations to keep them going and support. Think of any of those organizations, they're all funded. Right. How are they funded? It's from people donating money and putting that money into that system because they know they're going to do those things to help.
I mean, it's a community that's definitely been bullied. It's a community that's definitely been,
yes,
like you said, has been in the closet for years because of society would not accept it. So, yeah, they have every right to, again, it's a topic that we kind of don't understand in a weird way, you know what I'm saying? But it's out there and we see it happening all the time.
Yeah, there's more names. I want to keep going with some
more
more
names. I'm saying, I'm just kind of breaking down, like, that's kind of the world we live in today. And it's not like, hey, deal with it. We have to try to understand, have compassion, but at the same time, you still got to live your life, just be you.
Yeah, Paris Hilton, they did it with her coming out and talking about how, like, gays, talk about gay men and how aggressive they are and things of that nature. And, she said a lot of other derogatory things. And, again, they came right after her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They came right after her immediately, like, you're not going to get away with this. And, again, there's a part of me that enjoys that because that's like they're standing up. You know what I mean? And that's very important. Like you said, they've been in the closet, in the back scenes. They've probably been bullied so much. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I understand. Like, it's almost like anybody, when you finally come out of that, it's like a breath of fresh air. They're like, ah!
And they're standing together.
You know what I'm saying? But, and again, that's what they're doing. And, I understand that. But that cancel culture, you go through all of this business, all of these different things that are going on in the world, and you have a ability to lose it, after you built it up, just because you might have said one thing at that moment wrong. And I'm not a big believer in if you're saying it, you're saying it. You're doing it, you're doing it. I'm a believer in that.
But they've been canceling
for the most
people.
part.
When you mention something, I know you remember this. You're old enough to remember Monday Night Football, Jimmy the Greek.
Oh, man. You know, I love
why
Jimmy
did
the
they
Greek
cancel
story
Jimmy?
because Jimmy was a piece of shit. Is
Right,
why.
he was a racist,
Again, he
right?
was a racist. He
Now,
said you get 2 black babies, a mom and dad, because they got the big black hind legs. They're really strong. And he said you breed them. He's talking them like they're horses.
Yeah.
But, you know, Monday
But
Night
he was
Football.
at Monday,
hold on,
he
listen to
mentioned
me.
that.
Monday Night Football, back then, I don't know if
This
they
was in
still
the
allow
80s,
it.
right?
They would let you have drinks and everything. This guy was probably drunk out of his mind. But, you know, that to me is the truth serum.
Right.
So he might be drunk, but he's telling what he really believes. And he was basically saying get big black women to mate with big black men because they got big hind legs and they'll be able to run faster and block better. And that's why he got fucking
And
fired.
he called the kid, when he took off running, he said live on air, he says, look at the little monkey run.
Yo, yeah, look at the little monkey run.
And that was, so they canceled him. So it's kind of, at that moment,
The
from
beginning.
the civil rights from the 60s,
Yes.
now you couldn't get on TV. Before, you could get away with it.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of in the same,
Time.
in the same times with the LGBT community,
Yes.
in the sense that, hey, you just can't get away with saying anything anymore. When
No.
you used to
You
be
have
able to
to
say
be
a bunch
careful.
of stuff.
Look, we was talking about this episode and
Yes.
everybody was like, Chris,
Whoa,
please,
yeah.
watch what you say.
Exactly.
Be careful.
Yeah, you know, hey. But now listen, I come from a culture.
You got to see the behind
you know,
the scenes.
Latinos, when you go to Cuba and you go, you know, you look at those communities, the Latino communities with a super machista.
Yes.
You know, and
Latin men.
they have it.
forget
They
about
have it. Even though that community exists, they have it a little bit rougher.
Yeah.
Because it's not that mainstream or tried to be accepted.
Right.
No, it's a different. So I seen that abuse and seen in those communities. So again, that's why that power's coming by, because it's been so long. They've all banded together and say, "Hey, don't you dare."
How do they form the group in the beginning is the question
Secret
for me.
society.
That's what I look at. You know, they try with everybody, that anything that crosses a line. But again, they're funded. And that to me is everything, that they get the money, the power to actually be funded, to go out and make these agendas come to life when they see someone crossing lines.
Yeah, so there's money. There's people behind it, and they're trying to. But I mean, I'm assuming the cause is a righteous cause for them. You know, when they're going out there, they're not just, basing on some of the things we've heard. A lot of these people were saying nasty, hateful things because it's the old way of speaking, right? It's kind of like they would speak about African Americans back in the day. That's kind of where we're at. So they're trying to educate the people to say, hey, we're trying to educate the entire society to say, hey, we don't use that language anymore.
Right.
That's kind of where we're at with it. Remember
We
that?
don't talk that way
We
anymore.
don't talk that way anymore. Yeah. And I mean, it helps society and it helps more love, and so be it. It is what it is, I'm gonna just, respect it and
I'm there, like I said, I'm there. I understand it. Again, we've been oppressed ourselves.
yes.
So to not understand another person's oppression is very ignorant. And that's how I feel. Yeah. It's just certain things about it,
We're just questioning the fact that, how they get so powerful and how easy they can cancel people.
How did they
So
get
that's what
there?
this is about. Like,
and they did it fast to me in a very short amount
maybe
of time.
not. Maybe it's been something that's been in the works for a while and now it's finally manifested.
I believe it's more what you said the first time. They just came out.
Yeah.
Like it took time for them to get out.
Yes.
And then when they came out with, a vengeance. They came out strong. But again, that's good. This is what Givin Them The Business we trying to tell you. Like, this is part of all of that,
Well, it's costing, again, a lot of TV shows, a lot of programs, a lot of people are there's money involved in the situation from, to cancel Ellen. Those execs had to not sleep that night.
Oh,
are we
man.
making
Huge
the right
decision.
move? Right? That's a business. That's a
Huge
money
decision.
move. It cost Ellen tons of money. And that was, listen, think about what they're really trying to do. They're trying to, those people who have the big platforms that don't abide by whatever the rules are or are saying hurtful, nasty things, they're hitting you where it hurts. They're taking what you love the most what to do, or that you're earning your living, and just stripping that from you. Think about that. I don't know how much money Ellen was making, but she was getting a bag and then some.
Ellen is Dory from fucking Nemo, Finding Nemo. She was Dory, yo. She's Dory, the little. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. But you know, again, I want to a very important topic that cancel culture. You know what I'm saying? Giving them the business. Understand what you're facing and fighting. Staying true to your culture and watch what you're saying about other people because it might be very hurtful. Yeah. And it's not gonna fly today.
No.
It's not gonna fly today. No. So you know what I'm saying? I just want to thank you again for another day here. Signing out, Chris Gotti Lorenzo, my partner.
Dinero.
That's right.
You already
Giving
know.
you the business.
Squeaky.